is an inspirational leadership coach and trainer. Over the last 25 years, she has inspired her clients to rediscover their purpose and help navigate their journey and turn it into reality, to be even more fulfilled and successful in their personal and professional lives. Today, we're delighted to have Keely with us to share how to power up your purpose and to claim your why. Let's bring this amazing lady onto the stage. Give us a whoop whoop, give us a woohoo, give us a choo choo. The train has left the station. We have got Keely on the stage. Welcome, Keely.
And thank you for such a lovely introduction, Sammy. And breathe, Adele.
And breathe.
It's actually rather fascinating, really, because listening to Adele speak is actually like listening to me speak. With the whole sort of the importance of having an identity and about energy and being all connected and all of those kind of things that go with it. We're living with purpose, living with passion, and if you don't do that, it's like how do you know where you're going? How do you know what you're doing? You're just merely existing. And one of the things that I would turn around and say, it's rather like booking a flight with no destination in mind, and the flight keeps flying and flying and flying until the fuel runs out and you just land anywhere. And sometimes it can be a location you don't want to land in. So for me, it was lovely listening to Adele, because I absolutely connect and resonate with you 100% on that. So that's really good. And
I think it's such an alignment actually with the three speakers. It's everything is always destined to be. Guys and girls, like, how many of you have ever got to a point in your life where you've questioned what your reason why is? What is that purpose for you getting up in the morning? Or maybe your business has gone stale, or like you're going through the motions and you're doing what you thought was meant to be for you, but there's something that's like just nagging there. How many of you have ever felt like that? Or maybe you're feeling that now. If you're feeling like that now, this is the perfect session to get you focused on that. Keely, for those that don't know you, could you share with us a bit about who you are and why you do what you do?
Up until 2020, I worked with a company for over 23 years, a corporate environment, and got stuck in that environment where I think you just keep on going ahead and ahead and ahead, and then actually realize going at 100 miles an hour, no time to rest, the whole imposter syndrome kicked in. I got very high in the company, and then when I got that high in the company, I think I then fell into that trap of being, unfortunately, I'm sorry guys, but in a sort of white male Oxford environment, and felt that I had to compete, and I fell into this trap of being like a man and probably acting in a way that wasn't congruent to me, trying to volunteer for everything because I felt that I had to prove everything, and ended up stressed out, burnt out, tired, and worn out ultimately, and pushed myself into a corner really until such time as when I did finally leave, I burnt out altogether. And that's when I then started the journey of rediscovering my own why. And through rediscovering my own why, that's when I realized that I really enjoyed training and coaching other people to achieve the same thing, and seeing that light shine in their eyes when they get that light bulb moment.
Yeah, I completely resonate with that. That's a lovely introduction to you. And guys and girls, how many of you have ever felt that moment? I know that I have. We heard from Phil last night. I have felt that burnout. I felt the pain of that burnout. And the thing is that you go through it, and then there's just different stages, isn't it? And we just learn those lessons. And sometimes when we don't learn the lesson, it just gets harder and harder and takes an even greater toll. Sounds like you got to that point of, I have to do something else. I have to do something differently.
Yeah, 100%. And I felt myself slipping back into it, because I went back into doing consultancy, because you go back to what you know rather than what you love. And I went back into what I know, and when I started doing it again, I was like, what am I doing? I'm doing exactly the same as I did before, but as a consultant. So that's why I went on the journey of, creating my own framework, the freedom transformation formula. So And I have to say, the starting point with me, although the last part of my journey is rediscovery of your why, the first point is all about stress management and being able to help people unlock that, you know, the paradigms. And interestingly, another thing that Adele said was, you know, we have these patterns of belief that we have. We're programmed in as a child that one should behave this way, one should behave that way. We get these beliefs. And because of those beliefs, we act in a way that's not congruent to us. We have these skills that we lose because we're not using them, or we don't feel we're capable of using them. And that's where it leads to the exercise that I have tonight, actually, because the exercise I have is a tool that I've created. I'm going to try and talk it through rather than show, because
I can give you permission to share the screen if you want to.
Okay, it depends on how quick we've got, because I know we're
okay. Guys and girls, do we have your permission to run 5 minutes over? Are you okay with that if we go into this exercise in a little bit?
It's a very quick one, so it's a very visual one. It's more of a reminder more than anything. So hopefully, if I can just share, make sure I've got this. Just see if I can share this. This is where that's why I said I don't want to share it, because it probably went wrong. Right, let's see if I can share my desktop, and
there we go,
and do this one. So now,
looky, we like visual.
Yeah. So now, the reason why I created this is because, as Adele mentioned, is that quite often we fall into patterns of behaviour that end up with us in self-sabotage. We end up maybe not socialising. We end up having really busy diaries, and we're on social media all the time. We avoid conflict. We're not dealing with conflict at all. We're being vulnerable, not being vulnerable. And as a result of that, we end up going in this cycle of behaviour, which I call the wheel of misfortune. Because
I love that name, by the way. Guys, how many of you love the name? Like, we don't love the wheel of misfortune, but we love the name, the wheel of misfortune.
Yeah, and it's something that I'm sure that we can all resonate with, because totally. We go do loads and loads of hours because we want to avoid what's going on in the background. We self-sabotage because we basically, we resort to alcohol or drugs or eating the wrong foods and all those kind of things, because we're not looking after ourselves and we're not focusing on what we love and why we do it. And because we fall into these patterns of beliefs, we fall back into that cycle again. And because we fall back in that cycle again and repeat, so we have this wheel of misfortune. On the flip side, we have the wheel of fortune. And the wheel of fortune, effectively, it is, we are socializing under the terms that we want. We've got awareness about ourselves. We are exercising in the right way. And I don't mean going for 100-mile runs or cycling, stupid distances, all those kind of things. It can be around yoga. It can be about, meditation, walking, anything like that, being out. Being in one with nature. One of the things I like doing a lot of is grounding, because it's something that's really helped me. Improving your sleep, putting patterns in place to improve your sleep. And also, as we've mentioned, gratitude. Being vulnerable, ask for help. Because the one thing we're very, very poor at is asking for help, because we're afraid. We fear what people will say. We fear that we'd be challenged. We fear that we question. We fear it will impact our careers. All of those things that we fear. And ironically, all the things we fear, if we actually ask for help, we'd find that we get better results. And then the last part of that is, being able to manage conflict. And again, I don't mean with aggression. I mean managing conflict by actually accepting a situation for what it is, but actually responding to it in a way that's constructive rather than destructive, because we have 100% power, not losing the power. Now, the reverse side of this is, if we fall into the trap of the wheel of misfortune, it impacts our needs. And if you talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this is where it will affect our psychological needs, our safety needs, our belonging, our esteem, and then finally self-actualization. And if you achieve all of the things on the right, then we can achieve everything that's associated to our needs. Now, the question I would ask all of you is, do you see yourself on the red side sometimes, and that you need to perhaps look at how you can change your patterns of behavior and put things in place so you can change those patterns and start doing what's right on the Wheel of Fortune side of it and looking after yourselves so you can then achieve self-actualization?
That's a great question. Absolutely great question. Guys, what side do you see yourself on most? So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 8 points on each of those green sections. So I think a good thing for you to do would be to score yourself out of 8 in the red and score yourself out of 8 on the green, and see where are you on those scores. Are you scoring high on the red and low on the green? Are you about half and half? This is a great way, Keely. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. A great way for us to identify where is the gap. What do we need to do less of? What do we need to do more of? Or actually, not what we need, it's what we choose. What do we choose to do less of, and what do we choose to do more of?
Yeah. And I think, as Adele mentioned, is that, you know, sometimes we do what's easy rather than what's right. And I think the wonderful Dumbledore said that himself. You know, sometimes you have to do what's right. It might be harder, but it's the right thing to do. But it does take a little bit of effort and reprogramming.
Amazing. Brilliant. Well, if you could stop sharing your screen so we can see
I
your
will do.
beautiful face to wrap this up. Keely, how can the audience, how can they reach out and connect with you, find out more about what you're doing, and also share you with other people, help you to get speaking gigs and opportunities?
Okay.
Where can we point them to?
Okay, so one of the things that I've got here, I've got a Calendly thing that I can share in the chat, if that would help, and we can also share it in the comments later.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if you just do that, we'll just do that. So,
and I've also got a freebie as well. If people would like to,
who likes a freebie? Give us a hashtag freebie if you'd like a freebie. Who doesn't like free stuff?
There you go. So I've also got a freebie in there, which
Awesome.
is a daily stress tracker. And I would ask you to use that to monitor yourself over a period of time. And it's a really good way to monitor some of your patterns of behavior. And that because what you're feeling, who's there, what's going on at the time, and all those kind of things. Because you might find over a period of time that there's a pattern forming there.
Keely, thank you so much for dropping in with us. Keely's given me a link. I'm going to go put that into the description of the video and the live straight after we've done here. And there's also a Calendly link there if you want to jump on a call with Keely. Talk about how can you joint venture, how can you partner, how can you collaborate, how could you be getting on each other's shows, how can you be doing that thing? You should be having that conversation with every speaker at RippleFest. The ripples and waves are created when you not only ask for help but offer help. You know, partnering, joint venturing, collaborating is a game of I'll go first. So be the one that reaches out to them and says, hey, I want to help you to get in front of more of the people that I'm connected to. How can we make that happen? And guess what? The law of reciprocity means that they will likely, if they're the right values, they will do the very same for you, create that ripple of impact together. So give it up, guys and girls, for the amazing Keely.